Hello everyone, I am the Knitting Fairy Godmother and I want to send you some special sprinkle stitches, and I'm going to give me some special sprinkle stitches, and we'll give our project some special sprinkle stitches. So today we are going to talk about the Knittifesto. The next part of the Knittifesto is that even when we're knitting, there's a natural cycle of the beginning, the middle, and the end. And what I think is so interesting is that this happens in nature. Like right now we're in North America and the leaves are falling off of the trees, and we all know what that means. We all look forward to fall and autumn, and we know that the leaves fall off of the trees, which is part of the tree's life cycle, but then we're preparing for winter. So even when we're knitting, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like right now, all of my projects are at the really hard parts that need my concentration, so I cannot knit with you today. If you want to grab your project while we chat, this is a great time to knit along. When you're starting a new project, right, it's so exciting. You have all of the planning and the excitement of picking your pattern and imagining what that's going to look like, and looking at your yarn and picking your colors, and if you swatch, looking at your gauge swatch and making some decisions about design and what size you're going to make and what size you want to wear. Maybe you want an oversized comfy sweater, so what that's going to end up being for you. And then even the casting on process is like, sometimes we start really easily and sometimes we have to cast on a couple of times to get that beginning momentum so that we can go forward. And then the middle happens, right? And I call this section of a project middle-itis, because what happens with me is that I get bored, I get tired of something, or it's too difficult for me. And so I lovingly call this part of the project being in middle-itis. When you've worked on your project for a long time, you're either tired of working on it, you want something new, or you're getting stuck because something's catching you up, or you can't move forward from that middle part. So if you've ever made a sweater, the sleeves are often part of that process, because sleeves are just stockinette or tubes, right, that go for a really long time. So that's middle-itis. And one of the ways that I get through middle-itis is by having different projects going at the same time, so that I'm never in middle-itis on all of my projects, and that helps me to regulate a little bit of my attention. If I'm getting bored or tired of something, I can put that down and pick up my other project, which is in the beginning or the end stage. Which brings us to the last part of your project, right? The ending. And sometimes when you're ending a project, you really love it, and sometimes you really hate it. And I've had both endings, and sometimes you're really happy to be done with a project, and sometimes it's really bittersweet and you're kind of sad. And so with every ending, knitting or otherwise, there might be a grieving process that takes place. And even when we knit, it's important to acknowledge that that's a possibility, and to take a deep breath and come back to this, that there's a natural cycle, a beginning, a middle, and an end. One of the ways that I help the ending part of a project is by having an ending ritual. And so it's sort of like the way that I wrap up that project, both mentally and physically. I finish, I weave in my ends, I go through a washing process, a cleansing process, and that's one way for me to recognize that I'm done. I don't consider a project finished until I've completed the finishing process, but then it's also a way for me to sort of say goodbye to that project. and thank the project for all of the fun things that I got to do and experience and learn, but then also send it along its way, whoever that project will go with or be a part of. So just like with our knitting, all of our lives have beginning, middle, and end, and all of these cycles are happening simultaneously in our life, and that is also echoed in our knitting. So that's the Knitifesto, beginning, middle, and end, that we honor the natural cycles. And if you want to learn more about the Knitifesto, then sign up in my newsletter. I don't know where it is, but I'm always sending special sprinkles and magic stitches to your inbox, and I would love it if you could get those emails. So thank you for watching, and we'll talk next week. Bye.